but now. Hi there, I'm Coach Tom. Thanks for joining us. And we have a very special guest on this edition of Ask Coach Tom. Could you please tell the people who you are and where you're from?
Hey, Coach Tom. My name is Ellie. I'm from Philadelphia.
And can you describe your experience, how you know me?
Well, I had the pleasure of getting to know you through my very dear friend, Mary, who I saw on a Zoom call and noticed how amazing she looked. And we got into a conversation and she texted me your number after we had that conversation.
So you had some health goals you wanted to address. So let me ask, how was your body and your fitness prior to us meeting?
Well, I mean, typically I do exercise pretty well, but I had gone through a hip surgery. And during that time, I'd also gained weight, which was unusual for me. And I just, for whatever reason, I could not get it off. And I think, I mean, just to be super transparent, I'd also gone through menopause recently. And so the combination of all those things and someone at my age, I didn't know the source for someone who could help someone of my age with my particular issues that could help me reach my goals. And I didn't know what to read.
And if you don't mind sharing, like, how much extra weight did you gain that you wanted to get rid of? And how did that extra weight make you feel?
Yeah. So I, for the first time in my entire life, gained like 20 pounds. I've never, ever gained 20 pounds. Like I might've been 5 pounds, maybe even 8 pounds overweight, never 20 pounds. And for me at 5'4", that's a huge amount of weight for me. And not only did it make me feel just incredibly sluggish, I couldn't fit into any of my clothing. I also live on the 3rd floor. And by the time I got up to the 3rd floor, that was a challenge because when you're literally carrying around extra weight, your knees, everything is impacted. So it impacted my physicality during the day, but it ultimately really was impacting my mental health and just how happy I was or wasn't during the day. And I'm sure that impacts, people around me as well.
Well, if I'm being totally vulnerable and transparent, I am not in the fitness business. I am in the self-esteem, health, and happiness business, because when we don't feel good in our bodies, we don't feel good and we don't treat people well. And I'm grateful that you shared that. I mean, was there other things besides the stairs that you felt limited and you wish you could do better?
I mean, certainly I wasn't as flexible. I wasn't as motivated as I normally am to get to the gym. I felt more self-conscious than I've ever felt before. And even though, I'm a pretty confident person and I'd go anyway, I didn't go feeling great. And you want to be able to address and approach whatever you're doing feeling great. And I'm a positive person, so I would approach it in a positive way, but inside it was not great.
I 100% agree. You are the definition of positive person. It's a pleasure working with you. I'm wondering though, when you were in that not so desirable place, do you feel like perhaps your state of mind and physicality had a negative impact on people that you care about, people around you?
I'm sure that it did, in the sense that, if you're insecure at all, you're not going to feel as confident, and it's going to change the way you respond to things, or, how you're communicating. Maybe if your confidence isn't as high, you might, you might put up with things you might not normally put up with, or you might not necessarily come out with the right kind of communication that you're intending, because you're not feeling well, and it impacts everything, absolutely everything.
I would agree 100%. It's like that true light wants to shine, but if we have our own mind stuff going on, our own self-esteem, our own issues, that light, it's hard for it to shine authentically. So it's great that we are getting that light shining. Now, a lot of people want a solution that works, but they've tried things and they haven't worked. I mean, you must have had some doubts coming into the program. We're-
100%. I mean, it almost was like, I almost felt like desperate, like, oh, I got to try something because I've read all these things. I've been going to the gym. I had a trainer showing me at the gym what to do, but I know that it's not just at the gym, it's nutrition and there's a strategy. And I know that your body and your hormones play a role, but I didn't, I didn't study that. I have no idea. It's not my area of expertise. It's not a core competency. And I didn't know where to go. And I frankly wasn't really, I don't really trust. There's so much on the market. There's so many different conflicting things.
Mm,
If you don't have trust, that's the biggest issue. So, the thing about my friend Mary is Mary has proven to be a trusted friend in many areas of my life besides, the health and fitness in my work life as well. So I trusted her judgment when she told me, you know, Ellie, this is a different thing. And I noticed a huge difference. I've known her for years and it was visible on Zoom. I was like, okay,
mm.
what are you doing? And she was raving about it. And she said she and her husband had done it and that they were both super successful. And I thought, well, we're contemporaries, we're of the same age. So whatever he's doing for her, why wouldn't it help me?
And would you say that the fact that we did something besides the classic eat less, move more, lose the weight, that we had did that kind of help build your trust a bit?
I mean, it was everything though, Tom. Like I didn't realize that the time of day that you eat or when you're eating and the cadence of what you're eating, it's not necessarily what you're eating per se, right? Especially in the beginning, it's when you're eating. I had no idea that that played any sort of real relevant role. Like I didn't, everybody knows it's not good to snack at night. Everybody knows that. But until I really learned and understood intermittent fasting and it made so much sense for me, now it's a lifestyle thing. I don't even think about it anymore. It's just how I live.
Were you scared about fasting?
I mean, I was worried about my tolerance and whether or not I could actually do it because I'm a pretty disciplined person. But, when you're hungry or you think you're hungry, you're in habits for decades that you got just because, the convenience of food and how we eat today. But I was afraid at first. And the first time I had to do a GH fast, I was nervous.
Well,
But
I'm gonna stop you. You were ready. Like I remember you did it before schedule. So let's not say you had to do. You were like, let's go, and you did it.
I did, but I was nervous about it. Inside, I just didn't share that necessarily, but it wasn't nearly as hard. And now that I've done it so much, I don't even think about it. Now it's
Your
just like, oh,
body now can shift over to that new fuel source and actually lower the insulin resistance and use fat for energy when we do this consecutively. And I love that you are courageous and I love that you're transparent. People always want to know, how's your body changed? How's your life changed since doing the GH Fast Advantage with us?
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I gained this weight over a 2-year period and I tried the entire time to lose the weight. And when I first met you, Tom, and you had said, take a picture and whatever, I wouldn't even take a picture. I didn't even want to see a picture. So I don't know if you noticed, I was one of the people who didn't do that. And I was appreciative that you didn't push me. But what I noticed was within 6 weeks, so much of my weight was in my stomach. And I knew it was inflammation related. I knew that I don't know how to describe it, but I just knew I felt bloated. I felt like blown up, like someone stuck a straw in and just blew. It wasn't like all food or anything. It was just there's whatever was causing it. And what I noticed over a 6-week period was I lost 80% of my belly and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't. And I still have work to do, but I'm actually fitting into my clothing now, and I could not fit in my clothes for 2 years and it was horrible. And
How do you feel knowing that there is a solution that works and that we just adjust, make it a lifestyle and carry on the plan? How does that make you feel?
it makes me feel like anything is possible. I know for sure I can get to my goal. I don't even question that I can get to my goal, even if it's going to take me a little longer than I thought, because I have to still figure out what's causing inflammation. For me, it might be different for someone else, but I don't question that I can get to that goal. I have questioned that for 2 years. Am I going to ever be able to get rid of this? And I've never in my entire life had this issue. Like, I was an athlete. I've always been thin. I've always had, I've always been in good shape. So for me, this was like very new. And yet
And I'll tell you, you don't be hard on yourself, because so many people following COVID had a 20-pound weight gain, and then subscribing to what the National Nutrition Authorities are telling us: 6 meals a day, don't eat this, make sure you eat that. The information is not valid, it is not accurate. And one of my missions is to clear that up and help everybody get a solution that becomes a lifestyle. And together we can end the whole obesity epidemic once and for all. I know it's a crazy goal, mission, both, but I believe we can do it, especially with people like you setting the example and leading the way.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
One last question. There's people that are in the same exact situation as you, and they are just thinking, they're on the fence. They just aren't able to pull the trigger. What would you say to those people?
I would say that if you actually are serious about it, and you have to be serious about it, you have to actually really want to lose the weight. You can't just sort of be apathetic about it. If you really want to take control of your life, why wouldn't you do that? What would you? I would give anything. Your health. There's nothing you can't do.
Well, I'm going to be devil's advocate and say, I'm going to be doubting Dolly and say, because I've tried it before and it didn't work. I've tried intermittent fasting before, it didn't work.
Yeah. Well, if you don't work with somebody who understands the body and understands all of the different elements and actually tweaks and works specifically with you on how to achieve it, I bet that there's other people in the program that hit their goal earlier than I did, and probably have already reached their goal within a 3-month period or 2-month period or whatever it was. My body's different. I have a thyroid problem. I've got a hip replacement. I have other variables that I have to deal with, and you have to tweak and adjust the program as we go along. And because I've had you to rely on, where I can come to you and say, Tom, I've had some great weeks here, but right now I feel like I'm hitting a plateau. What do I do? You hop on the phone with me. We go through what we need to do, and I adjust it. And when I adjust it, even for 3 days, I'll be like, originally I was like, okay, this isn't really working for these 3 days. And then all of a sudden I'd go, oh my God, it did work. So I'd get on the scale and be like, oh my God, it did work. And so part of it is just being patient, having the will and the fortitude, having a great attitude. But if you don't try it, if you don't go ahead and try it, then you have to just say, I'm going to accept where I am right now. And that's just what it's going to be. And if you don't accept that, you'd be crazy not to try it, really.
Yeah, there's things in life we have to accept because we can't change, but there's some things we can change. And definitely getting rid of the extra body fat's one. Elinor, thank you for being awesome. Your picture went off, but I see iPhone. And just if you are out there and you want a solution and you can relate to Elinor, I encourage you to take the next step, because we'd love to help you. I'm Coach Tom, most grateful man on the planet. Elinor, I'm super grateful for you and for everyone we get to help. And I wish you all health and happiness throughout.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you. And Elinor, that was awesome.